Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Earth Initiation Podcast. Today, I'm doing another one of my famous intuitive messages where I don't really know what I'm going to say or what I'm going to talk about. The only thing that has been really in my field today has been the idea of fun and having more fun with life, and how I wonder how many of problems in life, your life right now, could be solved by having a little more fun rather than digging into what's wrong and trying to pinpoint the cause and the solutions from digging into stuff. And trust me, I've done that a lot. I help clients really get in touch with deep, vulnerable, hard emotions within themselves and stories and limiting beliefs and parts of them that have been traumatized and integrating that back into the whole. Like that's, what I would call shadow work, right? Going into the darkness, which if you listen to my podcast for a while, you know that darkness, I've mentioned this several times. I keep saying I'm going to do an episode about darkness. Um, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that today. But like darkness is not the connotation that the world has given it, that it's evil, it's wrong, it's scary, it's bad. Darkness is the night sky, right? Darkness is the soil you bury your seeds in to grow. And it's just kind of like another element of life. But yeah, and I guess that is really connected with this idea of being wrong, right? And so to me, the dark element, the darkness, the night sky is actually the feminine element of creation. It is like the canvas upon which you paint your life. It is the backdrop that makes the stars shine brightly so that you can see them. It is the space that gives birth to everything that can be experienced tangibly and physically in this world. So it's not something to demonize, in my opinion. But there is I've done plenty of shadow work, which is supposedly going into the darkness to unearth all of these really hard things about the self and integrate that into the whole. And that's, that's very important for a lot of people to do. Very, very, very important. Cannot be underestimated how important that is. But I am in a space in my life where I've done so much of that my soul has said it's like really time to let go of even needing to do shadow work and processing emotions. And it's really just time for me to live my life and have fun. And I mean, I have been doing that for many, many years now. I've been choosing that kind of life for myself, marching to my own beat, if you will, like doing things my way and like going against society or even what the American dream says. I quit my job 10 years ago. Actually, so I'm recording this in June of 2026. Um, 10 years ago, May of 2016, I quit my desk job as a government employee. That was very lucrative, but I just felt very empty inside, and I could there was a part of me that just could not fathom spending the rest of my days, like who knows how many days I have left on this planet, how many days of like my thought pattern at the time is like, so we save, all these years away, like doing something that we don't probably enjoy. At least for me, I didn't super enjoy it. I enjoyed like connecting with people at work, and I actually enjoyed meetings and like being around people. And my ego loved like the accomplishment aspect, I was very good at being an employee. I got a lot of raises and a lot of promotions, and I loved the accomplishment aspect of that. But it was just like it wasn't it, and it was like I can't imagine doing this for, 30 more years. And, with there's no guarantees. Like, what am I gonna if I get to retirement age? I don't even know what my health's gonna be like then, and I just want to live my life now. And so I've been trying to create that for so long, and life has taken me for a ride, right? I'm not gonna go into my whole story of like what happened after quitting my job. That's episode one. I don't really go into that too much, but there was like some pretty big events, including surviving a helicopter crash that I talk about in episode one. That's more of my story of like how I got involved in the healing world. But these last couple of months, and even though I'm certified in somatic healing, energetic healing, and then my soul has honestly delivered to me a lot of healing knowledge that I don't think you can read in a book anywhere. Um, that is so effective. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but my soul's like, toot your own horn. Like, it's so freaking effective that now I'm in a space where it's like I do still have like wounded parts of me, and I do still have hard emotions that come up, but I have genuinely built the ability to thrive like with the ups and downs of life. I can roll with the punches, so to speak, and not in a passive way where I'm like bypassing something, which for a long time I thought of myself as the chill girl. Like, oh yeah, I'm just so chill. Like, I'm whatever, I'm just easygoing. I'm not here to rock the boat, make the waves. Aren't I cool and fun to hang out with? Speaking of fun, right? Just going with the flow in that way, which was really kind of shutting off and suppressing like what my true desires were, what I truly wanted, things I wanted to say yes and no to, and even like suppressing my authenticity just to go with the flow and be easy and fun and have friends and all this stuff. So it's been like one hell of a dark night of the soul is what a lot of other people call that. And yeah, this that all that the process works. The shadow work works. The unconditional love, somatic like blend of unconditional love with somatics that I have created, and parts work, somatic parts work is just extremely, extremely effective, to the point where I'm like, my soul's like, don't do that anymore. You don't need to do it anymore. Like, you've integrated what you need to integrate. You know how to flow with your emotions. You are literally just here being authentic Emily, showing up in the ways that you want to, and just going with the flow of life from such a different vibration that's more playful, that's true, that's based in my truth. And I just have this like, and there's been episodes where this has come through too. Many episodes, like there was this episode I recorded last summer. I don't remember the name of it, but it was during the summer. I want to talk about summer too. Um, where I had a similar message where I was just like, I have so many ideas that are overflowing, and I have these messages that I want to share, and it's so much fun. I can never run out of things to talk about, which is so true for me. It's still true. And I think that's, part of this journey of getting to know your authentic self and really remembering what gives you fun. Like, what is fun for you? What is joyful for you? For me, like, this is so much fun to me, like, to turn on a mic and be like, I don't really know what's going to show up here today. But because I've built so much trust and clarity in my channel, my intuition, that it gets to be fun. Whereas I think a lot of people would just be terrified of doing something like that, right? And I'm not to say that I haven't had my fair share of terror around that I've used shadow work and my unconditional love somatic parts work process to integrate. We don't, it doesn't actually ever go away. These parts of you don't ever go away. You can show them new ways of being, but usually you have to first acknowledge they exist and love them exactly where they're at. And that's a part like so many people are missing in their healing journey. It's the presence piece, which is part of that unconditional love framework. They don't want to be present with what is because then they have a story about what's wrong with them. And when you're operating in a space of what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? What's wrong? Like if there's a conflict that happens between you and somebody you love, and if your immediate reaction is, how can I do better? How do I like make this go away? Is kind of the energy behind it, but that's probably not what you're saying to yourself. You're probably saying, like, how can I show up better? Essentially, this like, how can I make this go away in a self-blaming, guilt-based way, where it's like, there's something wrong with me because this conflict happened. There's something wrong with me because I showed up and I shared my heart and it didn't go the way I wanted it to. There's something wrong with me because I have maybe a particular disorder right now, or I'm experiencing a ton of anxiety, or I have physical pain in my life, or a lot of emotional pain. Or there's something wrong with me because I just don't feel motivated and I feel low mood all the time. There's something wrong with me because I need to get help with something. There's something wrong with me if I can't figure this out all on my own. And I can only say all of these things because that was my mentality for so long. It really was. Even if for the first, so I've been on this journey of like personal growth and being my best self for almost 20 years now. Really, that really started in about 2007, 2008 for me. If you want to hear kind of like where that started, again, episode one, which by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, episode one is not on YouTube. You will have to go to Apple Podcast or Spotify to find episode one because I wasn't doing video back then. But so I've been on this like grand journey of like bettering myself, but all along it really had the seed of like, I have to become better. I have to improve myself because there's something wrong with me the way that I am. And let's just like pause for a moment. If that statement stirred anything within your body, that might be an indicator that you're approaching your life through the same way. And even though my personal development, well, no, I want to keep talking, but we're going to actually just be silent for a minute. I want you to feel that. Is that part of your truth that you have been searching, searching, searching through healing, through work, through accomplishments, through productivity, through friendships, whatever, through fitting in? Has that all been under the disguise of who you are right now, with or without those things, is not enough, is wrong? Have you even labeled that when you feel not enough, when you feel kind of icky and cringy and shame and guilt for who you are right now or who you were in the past, is that even wrong? This also goes back to my judgment episode that I released earlier this year. Can't remember the episode number off the top of my head, but the title of the episode is called Love and Judgment Cannot Exist at the Same Time. And, I've started this episode saying that one of like my framework, part of my framework is unconditional love. And how you get to a place in your life where you're just like, wow, this is fun. And I'm not even doing anything. I'm just like talking or, I'm just, there's no accomplishment here. Like, there's no productivity here. I'm just doing this because it's fun. I feel lighthearted. I feel happy doing this. That like real innocent, carefree fun that most of us left behind in childhood because now we're grown-ups and we have bills to pay and maybe people that depend on us for shelter and their livelihood and their emotional support and things like that if you're a parent especially. And somewhere along the way, we lost the fun of life and maybe we replaced it with things that feel kind of fun. It's like the dopamine hit that you get when you scroll social media, or actually there are like you can have a dopamine hit in your brain from finding what's wrong and finding a solution. So maybe you've turned your self-improvement project into this idea of like it's fun to find things that are wrong with me. I don't know that you would describe it that way, but to the brain, when you get a dopamine hit, it signals reward, right? And I think part of the grand journey that if you're listening to this episode, I imagine that you are either beginning or have started to walk, you're somewhere along that path, that grand journey to being truly who you are in your life and enjoying it. It's not about just showing up authentically and gritting your teeth all the time and being like, well, that sucked. That was hard. It's just all hard conversations. It's just conflict. It's all this like grief and sadness and anger and hard emotions coming up that don't feel good in our system. That's part of it. That's part of it. Of course, I'm not here to say that that's not part of it. You can't get to this place where you're having fun and enjoying being your authentic self without walking that path first. And there's like a way that you can there's like ways that you can get there to the fun, authentic self where you're having fun even if somebody is like, you suck as your authentic self. And you're like, okay, because you've learned how to love yourself. You've learned how to love the self that judges. So when you're placing something as right or wrong on something, that's judgment. So you always stall out whatever healing process you're working, because ultimately unconditional love is the only thing that heals, that integrates, that can change anything permanently, sustainably. Because there's a lot of things that will work temporarily, right? We call those coping mechanisms. We call those management mechanisms. We're managing ourselves so we can find little pockets where we feel good until we get back to the grind, right? And so if you're always viewing yourself as something is wrong, and I need to find what's wrong, you will be separating yourself from the energy that actually can allow you to move forward. And that's not to say you can't have any love in your life. 'Cause there is nuance to this. It's not to say you can't have any love in your life or any fun in your life if you're viewing yourself this way. It just makes it a lot harder and it creates that tension where you're just like gritting your teeth through life until you can have those little moments of fun. And a lot of times you can end up turning to things that are maybe unhealthy. Again, dopamine activation. So like this is where addiction comes in. And I don't want to talk about addiction. Like everybody's like, oh, you could be addicted to drugs or alcohol. Yeah, that's one very real manifestation of this like searching for fun. I'm searching for pleasure in my life. And when I don't have that thing in my life, I'm just gritting my teeth and like hold white knuckle. I'm like raw dogging life, right? You've heard that expression. I'm raw dogging life. I'm white knuckling it. Um, but there are so many ways that we are addicted to getting little like cheap hits of fun, if you will. And that could be eating your favorite meal is a dopamine hit. It can be getting a good deal online is a dopamine hit. Or like you're buying something, you get it on sale. That's a dopamine hit, right? It's scrolling. You get dopamine hits from scrolling. There's so many. I'm not an expert on dopamine, but I do know that that is, there's like the word is like endogenous, I think. Like there's a way to produce dopamine in your life through like being your authentic self, being fully who you are, and knowing what truly lights you up outside of all these other things, right? That are just like the quick fix dopamine hits. And look, I still do those things too. So I'm not saying that. But I've like finally uncovered this like deeper layer where I'm like, dang, it's just fun to be who I am right now. And like I haven't lost all the weight that I need to lose. Like so we get a dopamine hit when we hit a goal too, right? So anyways, I think you get the idea. We're gonna let that marinate for a second. So just like be with yourself, just notice what's coming up when I talk about all of this. Because that is definitely for you, right? That's the shadow work side is like if you have shame coming up or guilt coming up, or even maybe you're labeling it as wrong, that you're getting your dopamine hits from things that are outside of yourself, right? What I really want to do in this next season of this next chapter that I feel is starting with my business, with Mission Soul Ignition, with Earth Initiation Podcast, is really just give you permission to drop the story that something is wrong with where you're at. Even if you have like doctors saying there's something wrong with you and you have a diagnosis of something, if you are serious about living your life without those things, you have to stop labeling them as wrong. Because again, in my experience, unconditional love is the only thing that actually creates sustainable change, meaning you don't have to force it. It it's like your life just becomes that. Right? You become the person that lives without the disease. You become the person that lives without the pain. You become the person that lives without the toxic coping pattern. You become the person that doesn't have to source their dopamine hits, the feeling good, like the joy of living life from the external world and what other people are doing. You can source that all on your own. You become that person. So it's really a journey of becoming, right? And so there's a reason why this is called the Earth Initiation Podcast, because you have to walk through these initiation gates that feel really shitty at first. Because if you could live that way, the person without the anxiety, the person without the depression, the person that has unlimited motivation, guys, I never struggle with motivation. And at first, that was a toxic thing for me because I didn't know when to rest and I didn't know when to stop. And I constantly was overriding my own boundaries, even when I was trying to be really careful about it and not push myself too hard. I always ended up pushing myself too hard and would end up in a spot where something would happen physically with my body because my all this wisdom comes from my body, by the way, which is going to be another episode for another day. Like my intuition comes from the cells in my body because I've brought love to them and because I want to listen to them because they know why things are occurring, which you don't have to know, honestly. It can be helpful to know why things are happening, but you don't have to know. All you have to do is listen to your body. But you have to create a good relationship with it first before you can listen to it, and you have to stop judging it for as wrong before you can create a good relationship to it and bring in love into that relationship. So, anyways, shoot. Now I forget what I was saying about that. Oh yeah, but I don't ever struggle with motivation. anymore. And it's not a forced thing. It's just like I'm overflowing like with just so much zest and like radiance of like I like never run out of ideas. And so I for me it's like I really have to rein it in and like pick one thing that feels like I can commit to for like a certain amount of time. So like I do want to announce that I am going to be doing a workshop in July. I don't remember the, the day. I want to say it's like the second. It's not the 4th of July holiday. I want to say it's like July 14th. But check the caption and I will, of course, put some information in there. But I'm going to be doing this workshop, and that's what I've committed to doing right now. Um, and I don't know if I'm going to do it again, but it's really about getting you to drop the idea that something is wrong with you. It's literally called There's Nothing Wrong with You. That's the name of the workshop. It's going to be $147. And you're going to walk away with not just the idea, right? Because we're talking about the idea right now that there's nothing wrong with you. And you maybe have already started to like open up to that possibility and you can see that of like maybe how problematic that is in your life, but what we're really going to shoot for in this workshop, and I'm going to guarantee this. So if you don't have this experience by the end of the workshop, then I will give you your money back. No questions asked. You just do have to watch the entire workshop, of course, it'll be recorded. You either have to attend and participate, or you have to genuinely watch it, the whole thing on your time and participate. But if you do not get the result, then you do not have to pay me. Um, yeah, and so what you're going to walk away with though is this felt experience in your body that nothing is wrong with you. Because it's one thing to intellectually, logically know that or want to believe that, but when push comes to shove, the body is saying something completely different, right? And those are the things that we don't want to override in my world. That is how you get to the place where you can access love and you can create sustainable change and you can open up whatever kinds of joy and radiance and fun and play and like just zest for life that you are meant to be here and share with other people, right? It's not going to look the same as me, but it will be your own brand and you will just fucking love it because it is meant for you, right? Um, you won't, I don't, I, you can't, you probably won't get to that whole, like the total end result of like you're living your life that way because that's something it does take practice, does take time. There's a formula to it on how to do this work so you don't get stuck in the shadow work. We use the shadow work tools, we use subconscious tools, we use the somatic unconditional love parts work framework that I use. And there's and then it's about making decisions after that. But you kind of have to master that first part yet first. You have to master the first part, which is unconditional love. And before you can even get to the place where you can really let your authentic self shine, because it's always going to feel dangerous to open up those spaces where even if there is like the most amazing gifts and talents and abilities and messages and your intuition and all this stuff, it's not going to feel safe to do that if you can't master giving yourself unconditional love in the present moment, which is why what you're experiencing right now is the very perfect curriculum that your body and your soul together have designed for you to be able to master that unconditional love and then be able to make decisions from that place and really exit out of this idea of needing to heal forever, needing to always process emotions, needing to always examine and analyze, right? And actually, you can skip a whole step if you just learn how to be present without doing those things, but we can't override those mechanisms when they show up. And that's a big difference between me and what a lot of other people are doing online. They're either teaching you to go into those triggers and stay there with no way forward and just kind of letting them resolve themselves. And then, it's up to you how you proceed from there, where I have a framework to guide you out of that. And then so a lot of people are just telling you to not listen to the part of you that's scared, to just override it, to just push through. And that's why we have an epidemic. Like you can't outrun or escape the part of you that is hurting, that is feeling vulnerable, that is feeling scared, that is feeling wrong. You can't outrun it, and you can't just tell it with your logical mind to stop feeling that way, and we're gonna move forward regardless of what that part of you thinks. It doesn't work that way, and that creates survival mode. So, anyways, I have that workshop. There's nothing wrong with you. I've already kind of delivered a lot of like the concept of the workshop, but we are going to be giving you again the felt experience of this where you can feel it in your body that, oh, I feel that truth. We're going to feel that deeply in your body. And it's gonna be magical. I don't even know exactly how it's gonna come through. It's gonna be different for each person, but I guarantee you, you will have that felt experience, that visceral experience that I've had so many times where I've been literally moved to tears of joy around and like just in awe and in beauty of the intelligence of my body and like what symptoms might be showing up and the current problems in my life and just how perfect they have been for me to access a part of me that has been buried for so long and feels safe accessing it. Oh man, it is just like the most moving, beautiful thing that I've ever experienced in my life is to literally weep tears of awe. It's not even like joy, it's just like the beauty of life, to weep at the beauty of life of like this moment. Oh my gosh. Even with all of its imperfections and all of its problems and the emotions, it was all perfect for me. It was all perfect for me to live in a space where I truly enjoy my life. So we're going to get into the nervous system. The nervous system, guys, is your intuition. The nervous system is the seed of your intuition. It is a communication mechanism, and most of us don't know how to have a healthy relationship with our communication mechanism and the sensations that are coming into our field, right? The nervous system is the one that, yes, it interprets for us and allows us to feel the physical sensations through the physical senses, through the eyes, through the smell, through the taste, through the touch, all that stuff. But also when you feel energy, right? When you feel someone's bad mood, when you feel someone's sadness when you're around them, when you feel someone's fear and anxiety when you're around them, that's also the nervous system picking up on those signals. So the intuition is not a woo-woo thing. And when I am like on a mission, I feel like to make intuition normal again. Like intuition is the most normal thing about being a human being, and it is going to be what separates people that are going to thrive in the world of AI and all this stuff where it's like, who knows how people are going to be able to create a living when AI is doing everything for everyone. Yeah, I know how I'm going to be creating a living. It's because I'm going to be able to tap into ideas and inspiration through my intuition, through my nervous system. Your nervous system is your connection to your higher self, your soul, God, creator, source, universe. It is all of it. It is the communication system through which you receive those ideas, the inspirations that come from beyond this world through the field of infinite possibilities, which is darkness, is the feminine. We'll just throw that out there again. So again, please stop saying darkness is bad or wrong. That's just a whole psychological operation that may or may not have roots in malevolent intentions or not. But Your intuition is what's going to set you apart, in this world. It's what allows me to deliver the most amazing subconscious shadow work, somatic journeys, healing sessions for my clients. It's my intuition that sets me apart. Like anybody can learn the tools and stuff, but my intuition is what helps me guide that session, right? So it's just like it's the thing that sets people apart from somebody that just learns something and executes it. And again, with AI coming on and all the uncertain stuff that's coming in the future, how you're going to know what is the best route for you if shit hits the fan financially or whatever. You're asking for clear intuition. That is what you're asking for. Even if you're in a really hard spot right now, like what is the best solution for me to get out of this situation, right? How do I solve my problems? It's through the intuition that you're going to know what path is right for you. And you will sometimes pick the wrong one. And if you do, it's not wrong. It's going to give you the exact ingredients to help you clarify the intuition so you can choose the path that actually is going to help you get the result that is meant for you. That's just not always what your ego thinks, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But it's gonna choose the path that's meant for you. That's like your more higher potential, higher realization of what it means to be you. Have more fun, have more excitement and enjoyment in your life, even when the world is on fire, right? So the intuition, the nervous system is the intuition, and learning to be friends with it. Love it. Like learn what it's saying to you, interpret the communication is also part of that. So I don't know where I'm going with all of this. I just really wanted to come and talk about fun today, getting back to fun and having fun be like the entire um like North Star for what you're doing in your life. Because to me, fun and joy, this is something that came through my intuition, is the mastery of this third dimensional reality. So if you're into spirituality and you're like, I want to go into higher dimensions, we're going to go from 4D to 5D and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah. But have you mastered 3D yet? Do you enjoy your life on fucking Earth? Because if you don't, trying to reach for higher dimensions, higher knowledge, higher self, away from escaping what's happening here, escaping your divine intelligence called your nervous system that is telling you how to master 3D reality and every single moment. You're gonna set yourself up for a lot of issues if you try to expand your consciousness without grounding in, which is what shadow work helps you do. And I think that's also maybe where people get that concept of darkness. Darkness is groundedness, being grounded, right? Being on Mother Earth, how you relate to the feminine. Okay, but I did say I wanted to talk about the summer real quick. So that's my, like, I don't know, you'll feel this, right? You'll feel this. If this is like buzzing with you somewhere in your system, then you should definitely come to my workshop. There's nothing wrong with you because we're going to only just continue this conversation and give you, again, the felt experience of the possibility for you and the felt real lived experience that nothing's wrong with you. And we're gonna also walk you through some tangible exercises to really start to understand what your nervous system is communicating to you outside of all the frameworks that are online. Like you can go on fucking Chat GPT and ask Chat GPT or Google or Instagram, like, show me, like, what, how do I understand my nervous system? And it's probably going to spit something out about polyvagal theory and, sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight mode, and dorsal vagal, and when you're in freeze mode or dissociated, and they're going to tell you about all that. But aside from all of that stuff, do you know what that means for you in your life? Do you know what that actually feels like when that shows up? And do you know how to work through that when those things are showing up? Do you know how to listen to that communication? So that's what we're also going to be helping you do is to really start to map and understand like the intuition from the nervous system perspective of like, wow, what is my nervous system saying now? And like, my hope is that you'll start to look at this journey as fun, even though I know your circumstances may not be fun, but like, how can we experiment with this? How can we be curious about what the nervous system is saying? Because it's actually leading us to clearer intuition and more fun and more joy, even if the present moment feels nothing like that. So that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. But my intuitive message about the summer, because I'm recording this a couple days before the summer solstice, which is also happens to be near my birthday. So I'm just I'm very much like summer baby energy here, which is the playful energy. It's the height of what blooms in life, right? If you look to nature, it's when summer is here, everything's in bloom, everything's green. It's in its like most vibrant, expansive state. And it's when the seeds have grown and branched out. So if you did seeds of gold with me, in December, I would be curious, just curious, to know what has sprouted and grown in your life since that exercise, since that we did a 40-day thing, and I probably will do it again this year. Um, so just make sure you're following me for that. And so we're addressing both sides of the equation here, which I didn't even really plan, but it's like, oh, of course. But it's Seeds of Gold was all about working with the darkness and like planting those seeds for this year. And this is when they're in full bloom. What did you plant last winter? So let's just take a moment to like understand that. Like whatever's coming up to fruition in your life right now is what you planted last winter. I'm gonna cry because this message, I'm like laughing and crying. This is what I mean. It's so fucking beautiful that I'm here experiencing this fun, this joy, this contentment. And it doesn't mean that I don't have my down moments, but um I experience a miracle every single day in some way, and I'm not even shitting you. Like not, of course it's a miracle to be alive, but like something where I'm like, damn, that is a fucking miracle. And it's because of what I planted last winter in the darkness. And I kept leaning in over and over again. And wow, it's just, it's mind blowing to me. We got to come up with a new word for this. Where it's like I'm crying and I'm laughing and I'm just like, I'm just so in awe like, at the magic of this life. And guys, summer is the natural time for playtime. Like, it's the natural time where you see your mastery level of, and I don't want to say over, but in harmony with the third dimensional reality. That's what summertime is. Summertime is the father, the sun in the sky, um, the light. The light is the masculine. And one of the divine qualities of the masculine is play. So just like the darkness in the winter can teach you about your relationship to your emotions and your feminine energy and darkness and the canvas upon which you plant your life, plant seeds for your life. The light teaches you what you've been tending to, where your thoughts have been. The light teaches you what your structure has looked like in your life, right? Um, because it's not enough to just plant the seeds. You have to weed the garden. You have to water the plants. You have to take the third dimensional actions. And that's what the natural summertime shows you. But it's also, again, play, joy are actually very nothing is purely masculine or feminine. We're going to just say that right there. There's always nuance to it because you can't have one without the other. And I don't think there's anything that's like pure, pure. But um, play and fun are natural qualities of divine masculine and that are heightened in the summer because summer is divine masculine energy. So that's where I'm gonna leave the episode today, and all that comes through my channel. I can't read that in a book, or I don't know where that comes from. It comes from my direct observation of life, of nature, and um, the way my mind works is I'm always looking for these objective truths that cut across all the dimensions. Um, Whether you're in the seventh, eighth dimension, angelic realms, or you're here on Earth, down to the tiniest grain of sand, what are those laws that permeate all? Because that's what really is going to work and help unify your quote unquote higher self that exists outside of this third dimensional reality that has all these amazing ideas and inspiration for you in your life, and also to be fully grounded here, and have those concepts work here in the physical, which is what I'm interested in because that's where we live right now. There's a lot of beautiful teachings and things that come from the higher realms that just are not practical in third dimensional reality, which is also what my trauma has taught me. The trauma of surviving the helicopter crash. It's like if it doesn't stick when I run it through that experience of a teaching or a healing modality or whatever doesn't stick when I run it through my own lived experience, then it can be helpful, but it's not that through line is what I'm looking for. The objective, overarching laws to govern your life. And that's what I teach. Everything I teach are things that work through all dimensions to the best of my knowledge. Because I'm not gonna pretend like I know everything, but I think this episode has been just a living testimonial to my process, to my work. If you want to come work with me, come. I actually, if you want to work one-on-one with me, that's great. But let's start at this workshop. There's nothing wrong with you. Come to that workshop. If you've worked with me before and this conversation isn't resonating with you, come to the workshop. It's going to be different than anything I've ever done before. And we're creating something pretty amazing here because now I'm like, oh my God, this is so full circle. I didn't even realize it. With my seeds of gold that happens around the winter solstice. And now there's nothing wrong with you. Summer solstice. Woo! It's gonna be amazing. We'll see what happens in the workshop, but it's gonna be magical miracles. Like I said, that's my norm lately, even when I'm having down days. So let's do this. Come check out the workshop. And I hope this episode serves you well and you know that nothing, at least a little bit more, that you know that nothing is wrong with you. Okay, bye.